Addison Rae opens up about how she relates to Britney Spears' overwhelming life. Hey guys, welcome back to another shared news from home. We have all the details on everything Addison had to say about Britney Spears. But before we get into it, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. As always, I'm your host, Fiona Zaring, and I'm joined by the wonderful Gabby Ganta. Gabby, this was a very interesting interview. There is a lot to unpack here. Recently, fans have been comparing Addison and Britney's journeys of sort of just skyrocketing to fame at such a young age. They're both from Louisiana. They're both into pop music. There are so many obsessions with their romantic life. I mean, it's an interesting comparison. Do you see it?
Yeah, I definitely do. It certainly happened really fast for both of those ladies, and especially with Britney when we got to see a little bit more of the past of her life in the new documentary. I know we're going to talk about that a little bit, but it really does line up a lot, and I'm not surprised because I feel like our age, our generation, we loved Britney Spears and looked up to her when we were, teenagers and things like that. So I feel like Addison is kind of like a mini Britney Spears for the Gen Z kids out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely like it's different generations, right? I remember when I was like a kid getting a Britney Spears CD and putting it like in my CD player. Like there are like different probably benchmarks of success for each of them in these early stages of their career. Addison obviously skyrocketed with a follower count on TikTok that like exploded her into the category of celebrity. Britney had a different path, but the reality is at the end of the day, at a young age and very quickly, they were each reaching major audiences and having so many young fans totally obsessed with them, wanting to be just like them. So different generations, but very similar, paths to fame overall. In an interview with Bustle, Addison was asked if she had a chance to watch, of course, the documentary you mentioned, Gabby, Framing Britney Spears. And it's interesting. She sort of paused slightly after being asked the question, really thought it over, came up with what she wanted to say, and then said, quote, "I definitely can see how that is an overwhelming life." So overwhelming, I mean, to say the least. I know I watched that documentary. It's so powerful, especially when you look at just like the steep trajectory of how she started to where she ended up. I mean, that's an interesting statement, right? It's sort of like a loaded, she's sort of saying a lot without saying too much at all. What do you make of this?
Yeah, I think she was definitely careful about what to say there, especially if people are comparing her to that. I'm sure she is super happy with her life and her career and how everything is going. I think at a young age, when you're handed all of this new opportunity and this platform, it's really exciting. It can definitely also be overwhelming. And I think also with Britney, it was a different time, as we were saying. So I think there was kind of nobody else like Britney Spears at the time. And it was sort of the beginning of pop culture really taking off and following someone so closely. So, in terms of the paparazzi and just being in the limelight, people didn't really know how to treat celebrities and stars. They were obsessed with them, like you were saying, and like was really invading of space. So, I think now we're at a point where that just wouldn't happen, some of the stuff that happened to Britney. So, that's good. But yeah, I think that is scary though for someone like Addison who's coming up and trying to be, famous or, continue in this industry, seeing how tough it can be sometimes. So,
Yeah, totally. And like the one of the big differences that I kind of keep thinking of is throughout that documentary when I was watching it, I just felt like imagine if she had like a Twitter and Instagram, like right? Like if she had the ability to hop online and squash these rumors so quickly or go live and be like that's not actually what happened, right? Like now celebrities have the ability to communicate with their fans so rapidly. If they really want to speak on something, it's not a big ordeal. You don't have to set up an interview. You don't have to do a whole thing. You can just speak on it, right? If you really want to. And then the flip side of
mhm.
that is through social media, we are seeing stars rise just because of who they are in their real lives. Addison started, just filming at home, making TikToks in her bedroom. And obviously, people fell in love with her and she skyrocketed to this level of fame where now her whole life sort of feels truly like it's fair game, which can be, I'm sure, very, very daunting to navigate. She also said, people do come up with narratives around you that aren't necessarily true. I've kind of dealt with that a lot, people being really involved in really personal aspects of your life. So, when she was talking about that, obviously, in comparison to Britney, what it made me think of is when Addison and Bryce split, which was not too long ago, there was some paparazzi video that surfaced of her basically, being harassed. They were following her to her car, asking her a lot of questions. And then because she doesn't have any privacy, the moments following that, when she was sitting in her car, you could see she was really shaken by it, really upset. She sort of broke down. And it definitely, it made fans very upset, understandably so. And it sort of struck me in that moment that she's gone from being famous for who she is, making TikToks, doing little dances, to so quickly the category of if she's having a breakdown in her car, that's no longer sacred, right? Paparazzi feel like they have a right to be there and, exploit those private moments. And that was a quick transition if you really think about it.
Yeah, it really was. I think it's so crazy because just like with Britney or with other big stars, now we're so obsessed with Addison and Bryce. And mostly also because Addison's main platform is TikTok and they were making TikToks every day. So then obviously we're going to be interested in their relationship and then also when it ends. But it's so tough because that was a vulnerable moment for Addison and she didn't get that privacy, like you were saying. It totally does remind me of the Britney doc when I think her roughest moment was when she was going to visit her ex Kevin and just to like get custody of their kids or like was dealing with that, which is so much to deal with. And then you have people just harassing you all the time. So I certainly can't imagine it. I hope that they're easier on Addison, especially because she's still young and still figuring it all out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it feels like this is one of those roller coasters. And I know we've talked about her relationship with Kourtney Kardashian before on this channel, but that to me, regardless of what people think of their friendship, at the very least, it seems like she might be able to get some advice from someone who has dealt with being famous for, not playing characters, not being, a classic celebrity, having their personal life be such a part of their fame. Hopefully she can guide her through some of these tougher moments. Because the
Mhm.
next thing I kind of want to get into is since Addison became truly famous, right? There have been some skeptics out there sort of asking the same age old Kardashian question of like, why are you famous? Do you have any talent? Obviously she has like 79 million followers on TikTok for her TikTok dances and doing the whole TikToker thing. But she also quickly kind of crossed over, grew out of that. She proved she was very business savvy. She launched a merch line really early on. She has her skincare, beauty line. And then she took it a step further, signing on to do He's All That, which she's obviously acting in. And then, of course, releasing Obsessed. Not everyone has been cheering her on at every stage of the game. There seems to be a learning curve here with when someone becomes famous as a YouTuber, as a TikToker, people aren't always ready for them to step into like those classic Hollywood celebrity categories. And what's interesting with Addison in particular is sort of at every stage of her fame, she's talked about how when she was younger, what she dreamed of was being an actress or a singer. Being a TikToker is something that kind of just happened, right? And she's determined to kind of continue to forge this path for herself in Hollywood to take advantage of this platform she's been given, but turn it into the career she really wants. She explained to Bustle, I'm willing to prove how seriously I do take things. It's something I'm willing to keep working at and hopefully really proving myself to these people. So I just think this is interesting because all of these TikTokers, we're seeing it now with like Nessa Barrett and Jaden Hossler. Some of them have their sights set on a more typical celebrity career. And it's going to be interesting to see who stays sort of the category of TikToker and who is more interested in capitalizing on their fame and moving over and just becoming more mainstream. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see over the next few years how many of them make that leap.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really wrong to say that these people are not talented. For one, Addison is a great dancer. She's also known on TikTok for her funny, crazy, cute facial expressions, which is like, okay, well, that's an important element in acting. So that's an easy transition. And I think it's smart for these kids to get off TikTok, go start a business, go do a movie, go make a song, because that is just what if TikTok doesn't last forever? Or, TikTok just is going to fall flat in a few years and no one's on the app anymore. It's like now they have these other avenues to start their career, new revenue streams. Like, if anyone is just staying on TikTok and doing the dances still, and if they have a following and are not capitalizing on other opportunities, like, that's super silly. They shouldn't do that. So I am totally with Addison, and she definitely did work hard for all of these opportunities, right? Because making TikToks, dancing every day, like, that is a lot. Every time she was out in public, she would make TikToks, she would talk to people, she would be like very outgoing. She's super outgoing, getting to know Kourtney Kardashian, like, she's making connections, she's doing all the right things. I think TikTok was just the avenue for her to get into the entertainment industry and start this career. Because if she would have just came out to LA and did auditions for movies or tried to make a mixtape and, sign a record deal, would people then not be like on her back, like hounding her for, oh, you didn't do this the right way? I think people are just like mostly jealous when they see this because they wish it was them who was just making dances in their room and then they got this fame. But so I think it's tough because everyone's just jealous because of, everything that she's been through. But I really think she did work hard for it, and I'm excited to see what else she does after this.
Yeah, I mean, that's honestly gonna be such a great way of putting it. I totally agree with you. I think there's something about like when you're a TikTok star or even a YouTuber, right? There's sort of like a level of like anyone can look at that and go, well, I could do that, right? Like it's not like, oh, you have to be some like Oscar award winning actor to pull off like a role in that film. Like somebody looks at somebody like Addison, like Charlie, Dixie, all of these kids, and they can relate to them on a way different level. Like when we were
Mhm.
young, I couldn't really relate to Britney Spears, right? Like she
Yeah.
was pop sensation, Britney Spears, an icon. Like it was a different kind of like fan relationship. So jealousy is probably really what it boils down to a certain point. And I have no doubt that we're going to be seeing Addison conquer so many different things that she's put her mind to because I agree with you. I think the girl works so hard. And it'll be interesting to just see, of course, where her career continues to take her. You guys, that's everything we have for you right now. We want to know what you make of all of this. First of all, are you a fan of Addison? Are you into these next stages of her career? And at the end of the day, do you see some parallels there between her and people like Britney Spears, who also rose to fame at a young age? Let us know down in the comments. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. As always, I'm Fiona Zaring, joined by Gabby Ganta. If you want to come say hi, our social handles are on the screen right now. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.